G'day, Shane here from Wine Grape TV, and thank you for joining me in my home bar. But more importantly, thank you for helping me bring McLaren Vale wine to the world. Another brand new producer as far as Oenotria grapes concerned. Now, I've got to put my glasses on because the pronunciation I struggle with a little bit. Oenotria Vintners, Land of the Vines, Cabernet Sauvignon from 2011. The winemaker, Kurt, the last few years has come to McLaren Vale during vintage from Queensland and slept in the winery and made his wine. So he gets select parcels of grapes, small tonnages, and looks after them personally, as you can tell by him sleeping in the winery during vintage. I tried this wine about 6 months ago, and the wine changed quite significantly over a period of about 2 hours. This wine has been open for between half and 3/4 an hour, so I'm hoping it's at a point that's appropriate to share with you today. So let's do the wanky thing. In 2011, people will talk about as being a poor vintage in McLaren Vale, and we just need to be careful about generalisation. And what I try and put forward at the moment for people looking to buy 2011 wines is really about try before you buy. There is some good wines from 2011, and there's some wines that I just wouldn't drink from 2011, and they're probably better pour down the sink. So you do need to be careful, but we also need to be careful about generalisations from a vintage. So, look, the aromas on this I find quite interesting. I'm getting some classic Cabernet coming through. Now, McLaren Vale doesn't always do classic Cabernet. It quite often does Cabernet that's a great dry red. And I think there's two reasons for that. One is that winemakers tend to make the Cabernet the same as they make the Shiraz. In the winery, but also I think the character of the soil and everything is coming through and pushing it to being very similar to Shiraz. But in this case, I'm certainly not getting that. I'm certainly getting the classic Cabernet blackcurrant aroma, and that's coming through in spades. I'm also getting some chocolate, licoricey sort of things coming through, and I suspect without putting it through, I suspect that's got to do with the oak treatment, but we'll taste it and see. Look, I think this wine has improved in that 6 months that I had it last. That's all about classic Cabernet there. Definitely cassis coming through. A little bit of dried herbs. What I find interesting with this wine is it's not a real donut wine. Now, what do I mean by that? Cabernet and classical Cabernet is known for some really good upfront characters and really good finish, but not much in the middle. And that's why in Australia it's quite often blended with Shiraz. But in this case I'm not getting that, but I'll try it again just to make doubly sure. And I mentioned in the aromas that I thought there'd be a lot of oak character there. There's a bit of oak character in the right at the back end of the palate, but it just plays smoothly along with the grapes, I suppose you call it, in the rest of the wine. Certainly not over oaked. I think Kurt's done a really good job here. The fruit. It must have been pristine fruit coming in, or as good as you can get from that vintage. And it's obvious that it's been well looked after. Well looked after. The interesting one for me is my mouth is salivating. Quite often I find with strong dry reds, a lot of oak, a lot of tannin, things like that, you don't, or I don't, it tends to dry the mouth, sorry. In this case I'm not getting that mouth drying effect, so that means there's not a lot of big tannins in there, right? So this is really a very a very nice drop, and look, I think it's drinking quite well now. It's a wine. Yes, you could put it down for a while, but it is drinking quite well now. And the way it's coming through with those Cabernet flavours, why wouldn't you? So speaking of that, I might do a little bit of that a little later and drink a bit more of this. But at the moment, that's all we have time for Wine and Grape TV today. Thank you for joining me. It's been an absolute pleasure. And Kurt, you've done yourself proud with this one, boy. And I'll see you in a couple of months' time. Thank you very much, and enjoy and be safe. Goodbye.